Hello and welcome to Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. My name is Kelly and I'm a former wedding planner and blogger, and I'm obsessed with weddings. If you're planning a wedding in Ireland, you're in the right place. You're going to learn the tried and tested methods to planning your dream wedding without the added stress. Think of this as your one-stop shop for everything to do with planning your wedding in Ireland. With me, your new wedding planning bestie, and a cup of tea. This is Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. Well, happy Wednesday and welcome to another episode of Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. I'm your host, my name is Kelly, and we have a really fun episode today because we're talking all about how to plan the best wedding reception entertainment. Now, if you missed last week's episode, it was all about hen parties, and we covered everything to do with who can you invite, what happens about guests who are only invited to the afters, should you have them at the hen party, who pays for the hen party. We covered all of it in the episode last week. So if you missed that, it's episode 20. I'll put a link in the notes so that you can click on that and catch up, because it was a really good episode. We had some amazing expert advice from Shane of Elite Hen Parties. So don't miss that one. Now today, we're talking all about wedding reception entertainment, and there's a lot that you can do, and there's a lot of ways that you can enhance the entertainment and really make it stand out and make the entertainment something that your guests can really, really enjoy. Now, I went to a wedding a couple of months ago in this really big venue. There were loads of different parts of the venue, and in a little while later in this episode, I'm going to share what worked and what didn't work from my perspective as a guest. And I will give you some tips on what you can do to make sure that you make the most of the venue you have and the entertainment that you're going to place in that venue. But first, you might be thinking, with wedding entertainment, I really want to make sure that I wow my guests immediately. And that's exactly what I thought. For this episode, we want to make sure that the first thing you do is you give your guests that incredible wow experience that makes them go, oh my word, this is absolutely insane. Now, the best way to do that is to give them some kind of entertainment that's going to enthrall them. So I asked an expert, magician and mentalist Jamie Skelton, I asked him, how can you wow your guests with magic? Well, let's listen to what he has to say.
Having a close-up magician and mentalist at your wedding is without a doubt one of the best forms of interactive entertainment you can book. Unique, fun and amazing, magic's one of those rare forms of entertainment that appeals to all age groups and unlocks that sense of childlike wonder in all of us. But why should you consider having a magician at your wedding? Not only is it a superb icebreaker, bridging the gap between both tribes and guests who may not know each other, but it's also the perfect lull filler, filling any dead time at your wedding where there's not really much going on. It's also a highly memorable experience that your guests will associate with your wedding and will keep in their minds for years to come. A skilled magician will be able to generate an electric atmosphere in the room, generating applause, laughter, and sometimes even screams. Magic also provides your photographer and videographer with some amazing content to capture as they photograph or record your guests' amazed, shocked faces. I'm often asked what's the best time to book a magician at a wedding. Typically, I perform either during the reception slot or after the dinner, just as desserts are being finished. The reception slot is definitely the more popular of the two, as couples are looking for something fun and invigorating to keep their guests entertained and enthralled whilst they're off getting their photos done. Typically, I perform as guests arrive all the way up to the dinner bell, or you could opt to have a magician perform after the dinner to fill that lull period between the desserts and the band setting up. It's also a great way to keep the energy going in the room after the meal when everyone feels a bit sluggish. So if you're looking to make your wedding stand out from the rest, provide your friends and family with modern, mind-blowing entertainment, and give them something to talk about at your wedding, I would seriously consider hiring a magician at your upcoming wedding.
Well, thank you so much, Jamie, for that insight. I think it's so important to consider the type of atmosphere that you want to create. Do you want it to be electric? Do you want your guests to be enthralled? Do you want to keep the energy up in the parts of the wedding, as Jamie said, that can sometimes have a bit of a lull to them? Consider the different parts of your wedding and the types of entertainment that you want to have in those different parts. Now, of course, there are lots of amazing things that you can do throughout the wedding. You could have a photo booth. You could have some kind of interactive guest book. You can have all kinds of experiences that allow your guests to be interacting with one another, things that keep them entertained when you are having your wedding portraits taken, or, when there's a lull in the evening and you want your guests to have an activity to do. There's so much you can think about. But there's a really obvious way to entertain your guests that a lot of people choose to do, and that is having an amazing wedding band. Now, having a wedding band will create this awesome party atmosphere. And what more could you want when you're celebrating with your loved ones? Now, I spoke with Alan from Long Time Coming Wedding Band, and I said to him, are there any songs that you would recommend playing right after the first dance? And I'm going to tell you what he shared in a moment. But now let's just picture the scene for a second. Let's say you're about to do your first dance. My recommendation is, depending on the layout of your venue, have your guests standing and have them around the dance floor. Then you have your first dance. You play a couple of very strategic songs after that, which will get them onto the dance floor. And then suddenly they're there, they're already partying, and you don't have to feel like you're dragging them from their seats to come onto the dance floor. So now if you're wondering about those songs, let's have a listen to what Alan had to say. And remember, he's an expert. He's literally from a wedding band. He knows what he's talking about. Have a listen to this. It's awesome.
Yeah, so after the bride and groom's first dance, for a long time coming, two of the most popular songs for us to get people on the dance floor straight away are Shut Up and Dance by Walk the Moon or Ollie Moore's Dance With Me Tonight. We find both of these songs are impactful and people tend to gravitate to the floor straight away with these two.
I'm not surprised at all because those are two really, really awesome songs that I know I love to dance to. So the key here is to pick songs that you know your guests are going to want to dance to and play them right after your first dance. Don't worry about trying to ease from a slow romantic song into something fun. Just go straight in with fun songs. Get them on the dance floor. What I've seen that works really well is once the couple have had their first dance, you get the wedding party to come onto the dance floor either towards the end of the first dance or right after the first dance as the next songs come on. It just helps the guests to feel like they're not standing around waiting for the thumbs up. Like they know they can get on the dance floor too. So that's a good way to get the party started. Now, if you want to keep the party going, I've seen a couple of really fun things that couples have done that I think really creates an awesome atmosphere. Now, the one thing is having a sign with your dance party rules. So now you could have a big chalkboard with a sign on it, or you could have something really specially designed that you display somewhere. But the key is to have some fun rules. And now I say rules, but they're not hard and fast rules. It's really meant to open the space so guests know that they can go crazy. So the rules are things like dance-offs are encouraged, or, tell your guests that you want them to dance with you. You want to see their crazy moves. Those are the types of things that I'm talking about. So they're not really rules, but they give guests permission to really go crazy and to have the best time on the dance floor. Now, I mentioned earlier that I went to a wedding recently and there was something about the venue and the layout that didn't quite work well. And I'm going to share it with you because I think it might help you when you plan your own wedding reception entertainment. So now at this venue, it was really, really beautiful. It was really big. There was a big outdoor section with a fountain, and there were different rooms inside and also little different spaces outside the venue. Now, the thing that I thought was really great is that there were so many options of things to do. So on the one side, there was an interactive photo booth and a guest book where you could, take the pictures and stick them in the guest book and write in there. Then at another part, there was a dance floor and there was a DJ there and a bar. Then there was a different section where they had some food being served and it was a bit of a barbecue and you could sit outside and chat while you eat. And then all over there were a couple of different places where you could sit on, comfortable chairs and couches. And there were these places kind of scattered across the venue. So if your priority is to have a variety of things for guests to do and you don't really have one particular focus, then that kind of layout works really, really well. Having different options, allowing guests to kind of roam through the venue and explore different things. If that's what you're after, then great. That's exactly what you do. You have a variety of entertainment options and you have them sprinkled across the venue. But if your priority is to have an amazing party and lots of dancing, the best thing you can do is to really focus on creating the party atmosphere. Just like we spoke about earlier, take the song choices that Alan suggested and play those, like, get the guests onto the dance floor. Have the dance floor rules, as we suggested, and have the guests having the best time. But what I found is that at this particular wedding, all I wanted to do was dance, but there was no one on the dance floor. Surprisingly, for a lot of the night, there was no one on the dance floor because people were either having pictures taken far away in the photo booth, or they were having a barbecue far away on the other side of the venue, or they were sitting on comfortable chairs, again, far away from the dance floor. Now, of course, you want to have a photo booth. You want people to be able to write in the guest book. You want them to know they can sit down, they can go to the bar and get a drink. I guess what I'm trying to say is all of those things are completely valid. They're great things to do. But if you want guests to be dancing, you want to make sure that all those activities are close to the dance floor. So for example, if I'm a guest at a wedding and I feel like I need to rest my feet and I take a seat, but I'm relatively close to the dance floor, if I hear my favorite song play, I'm going to get up and go onto the dance floor, whether my feet are sore or not. If I'm halfway through my drink, I'm still going to put it down and I'm going to dance. But at this particular location, because everything was so far away from each other, I didn't know what songs were playing on the dance floor when I was out getting pictures taken or when I was having some of the barbecue. So if you want guests to be part of the dancing and having fun, just make sure everything is close to each other so that you can actually have guests aware of what's happening on the dance floor. If there's a fun conga line going around, you want people to be able to see that from the corner of their eye and go, I want to be part of this. You want them to hear their favorite song and say, I want to go and dance to that. So the key here is to just identify your priorities. Do you want a variety of entertainment and you don't mind if it's dancing only? Great, sprinkle it out across your venue. But if you want dancing to be a big focus, enlist the help of an awesome band and DJ and make sure that everyone's aware of what's happening on the dance floor so they get FOMO and they want to be part of it. Now, here's 2 more things you can do. If you want to have the best party and best wedding reception entertainment, consider getting props involved, things like inflatable guitars or glow sticks to keep the fun atmosphere. And keep your guests comfortable. Comfortable shoes they can put on, like flip-flops and sandals. It goes a really long way to helping guests feel like they can stick it out on the dance floor without taking their shoes off and getting their feet sticky on the floor. Now, finally, I asked Alan about some creative things that you can do to have your guests interacting on the dance floor. And this is what he shared with me.
Some of the ideas we use for Long Time Coming to actually keep people on the dance floor are our interactive moments. So if we see a dance floor maybe dipping a little bit, we may go on the dance floor and maybe grab the bride, grab some bridesmaids, start a train, go around the table, start picking up passengers along the way, and then we'll strategically aim back towards the dance floor, and then boom, dance floor is full again. We also have, say, about 7 or 8 pillar songs, we call them, songs that are guaranteed to get people on the dance floor. Again, if we see a little dip, we could pull out one of these pillar songs straight away and we're back in action. So that's what we do, as well as all the interactive stuff. I think that's very important to get people involved and just keep everybody on the dance floor. That's the main objective.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Alan. Well, thank you for listening today. The Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online podcast is produced by me, Kelly, and mixed, mastered, and edited by Glenn Hartman. A special shout out to this week's wedding planning experts, magician and mentalist Jamie Skelton and Alan from Long Time Coming Wedding Band. For more wedding planning tips, advice, checklists, and more, visit weddingsonline.ie.